The quiet hum of machines filled the Veltori research station as it slowly orbited the massive gas. Giant Kepler-4 for Tubi. Commander Lethera stood at the observation deck watching the swirling storms below. Her forearms moved gracefully as she checked the daily reports from her science teams. Everything seemed peaceful in this remote corner of space. That peace shattered when the alarms started screaming. "Commander!" shouted her communications officer. "We have multiple ships dropping out of hyperspace. They are not responding to our identification requests." Lethera rushed to the command center. Her large eyes widened as she saw the scanner displays. 12 black ships surrounded their station like hungry predators. She knew those designs. Everyone in the galaxy feared those sharp, angular holes. Cracks. Marauders. The first energy blast hit their shields before anyone could speak. The station shook violently. Emergency lights bathed the corridors in red. More blasts followed quickly. Their shields dropped to 60% in seconds. "Why are they attacking us?" asked the science officer. His voice trembled with fear. "We are just researchers. We have nothing valuable." Lethera knew the truth. The Kreks did not care about research or science. They attacked anyone they found weak. Her station had only basic defensive systems. They were sitting targets out here in empty space. "Send a distress signal on all frequencies," she ordered. "Emergency broadcast. Request immediate assistance." The communications officer's hand shook as he worked. "Signal sent, Commander. Broadcasting on all civilian and military channels." Another wave of energy blasts hammered their shields. The lights flickered. Sparks flew from damaged control panels. Their shields dropped to 30%. "Can we hold?" Lethera asked her chief engineer. "At this rate, maybe 20 minutes. Our weapons are too weak. We cannot fight back effectively." Lethera closed her eyes. 20 minutes to live. Maybe some patrol ship would hear their call. Maybe a merchant vessel with better weapons would help. But probably no one would come in time. The Kreks continued their attack. They were not in a hurry. They knew the station could not escape or fight back. They were playing with their prey. 15 minutes passed. Their shields dropped to 10%. Hull breaches appeared on decks 4 and 7. The air recycling systems struggled to maintain pressure. "Any response to our distress call?" Lethera asked desperately. "Wait," the communications officer said suddenly. "I am getting something. A response signal. They are identifying themselves as U.S. Indomitable." "What species?" Lethera asked with hope. The officer checked his instruments twice. His face went pale. "Commander," they say, "they are human." The command center fell silent except for the sound of failing systems. Everyone knew about humans, the Deathworld species, the ones who came from a planet so dangerous that most civilized beings could not even imagine living there. They were whispered about in spaceports and trading stations, stories of their impossible strength and strange behavior. "Are you certain?" Lethera asked. "Yes, Commander. They are requesting our coordinates and tactical situation. They say they are 20 minutes out. 20 minutes. Exactly how long their shields might last. If the stories were true about humans, then maybe they had a chance. But if the stories were also true, then maybe rescue would be worse than capture." The Kreks seemed to sense something. Their attacks became more aggressive. Energy blasts came faster now. The station's hull groaned under the punishment. "Incoming transmission from the human ship," reported the communications officer. A voice came through the speakers. It sounded calm and strong despite speaking in simple Galactic common. "Veltari Station, this is Captain Lee Deho of the UES Indomitable. We received your distress call. Hold your position. We are coming to assist. Repeat, hold your position." Lethera stared at the communication panel. Humans were actually coming to help them. She had asked for rescue, and the most dangerous species in known space had answered. She wondered if they had made a terrible mistake. The space around Kepler-4 to be suddenly twisted and glowed with blue light. A massive ship dropped out of hyperspace right into the middle of the battle zone. The EU's Indomitable appeared like a metal giant among the smaller Kreks vessels. Commander Lethera watched in amazement. Most species would arrive far away and then slowly approach while sending diplomatic messages. The humans had jumped directly into the fight. "This is Captain Lee Deho," came the calm voice over the radio. Krex vessels, you are attacking a civilian research station. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences. The Krex commander laughed over the open channel. One human ship against 12 of ours. You Deathworlders are as stupid as the stories say. The human captain's response was simple. Park Soman began combat operations. What happened next shocked everyone watching. The Indomitable moved like no large ship should be able to move. It rolled and twisted through space as if gravity meant nothing. Pilot Shinboa flew the massive vessel like it was a small fighter craft. The first Krex ship that fired at the humans learned a terrible lesson. The Indomitable's weapons were not normal military guns. They were mining lasers designed to cut through asteroids. The beam sliced through the Krex ship's armor like paper. Impossible, whispered Lethera. How can they move so fast? Her science officer checked his instruments. Commander, the gravitational forces inside that ship should be crushing the crew. No species can survive those acceleration levels, but the humans were not done surprising them. Small pods launched from the Indomitable's hull. Security Chief Choi Ji-hoon led a boarding party toward the nearest Krex vessel. The pods moved in ways that defied normal physics. Inside the lead pod, Choi Ji-hoon spoke to his team. Remember, we are in zero gravity. Use all 3 dimensions. These raiders are used to fighting civilized species who follow normal tactics. Demolition expert Yunahana checked her equipment. Their whole armor is standard Krex design. My charges will punch right through. Medic Kong Minho prepared his emergency supplies. I have medical kits ready for both human and alien casualties. We treat everyone once the fighting stops. The boarding pods attached to the Krex ship with magnetic clamps. Yunhana placed her charges and everyone moved away. The explosion created a perfect hole in the hull. The Krex inside the ship prepared. To defend against boarders, they set up weapons facing the breach point. They expected the humans to come through slowly and carefully like normal soldiers. Instead, Choi Ji-hoon and his team came flying through the hole in all directions. They used the zero gravity to attack from above, below, and sideways all at once. The Krex had never seen anything like it. What are they doing? Shouted a Krex warrior as humans bounced off walls and ceiling to change direction. The boarding party moved through the ship like they were swimming through water. They used every surface to push off and change direction. The Krex could not track targets that moved in 3 dimensions at once. Meanwhile, the Indomitable continued its impossible dance around the remaining Krex ships. Engineer Kim Tae-woo had modified their mining equipment into weapons. Rock crushers became projectile launchers, or refiners became explosive devices. Captain, reported Tactical Officer Park Soman. 3 Krex ships destroyed, 4 more damaged. The boarding teams have taken control of 2 vessels. Excellent work, replied Captain Lee Daeho. Continue operations. Commander Lethera watched the battle with growing amazement and fear. The humans fought like no species she had ever seen. They used chaos and unpredictability as weapons. They treated the vacuum of space like their natural environment. Commander, her communications officer said quietly, I think we called something worse than the Krex. But as Lethera watched, she noticed something else. The humans were being careful not to hit the research station. They were protecting the civilians even while fighting a desperate battle. Maybe these Deathworlders were dangerous, but maybe they were also exactly what the galaxy needed. The battle around the research station continued to rage. 3 more Krex ships moved to surround the human vessel. Their commander had called for reinforcements after seeing what the humans could do. Now they tried a different approach. Target their engines, ordered the Krex fleet leader. Disable them so they cannot move like crazy things. The concentrated fire from multiple ships hit the Indomitable's rear section. Sparks flew from the engine compartments. The ship's wild movements slowed down. Captain Lee Daeho checked the damage reports. Engineer Kim, what is our status? Kim, Tae-woo's voice came through the communication system from deep in the ship. Captain, we have lost 30% power to the main drives. The good news is everything else still works. The bad news is we cannot dodge like before. Can you fix it? Asked the captain. Give me 20 minutes and I can jury-rig something. But we need to survive that long first. The Krex ships closed in for the kill. Their energy weapons hammered the human ship's shields. Without the ability to move quickly, the Indomitable took heavy damage. In the medical bay, Dr. Nam Soo-jin was doing something no other species had ever attempted. She was studying Krek's biology during an active battle. Her computer screens showed anatomical data from the boarding party's encounters. Fascinating, she said to herself. Their exoskeleton structure has a weakness at the joint connections. The armor is strongest at the center, but weak where the plates meet. She opened a communication channel to the boarding teams. Choi Ji-hook, this is Nam Soo-jin. I have tactical information for you. Go ahead, Doctor, came the reply from inside an enemy ship. Their armor has weak points at the joints. Target the connections between the plates. Also, their breathing apparatus is external. Damage the tubes on their backs and they cannot filter air properly. Understood, relaying to all teams. The information changed everything for the boarding parties. Instead of trying to punch through thick armor, they now aimed for the weak spots. The Krek's warriors found themselves being defeated by enemies who seemed to know exactly where to strike. Meanwhile, Communications Officer Bae Jun-sik was fighting a different kind of battle. He had hacked into the Krek's command frequency and was listening to their tactical discussions. Captain, he reported, I can hear their battle coordination. They are planning to ram us with 2 ships while the others keep firing. Can you disrupt their communications? Asked Captain Lee. Better than that, sir. I can broadcast on their frequency. Do it! Bae Jun-sik opened the channel and began playing human war songs at maximum volume. The sounds of drums and battle cries filled the Krek communication system. Then he added recordings of human warriors shouting in different Earth languages. The effect on the Kreks was immediate. They had never heard anything like the wild, chaotic sounds of human battle music. Their organized military communications became confused and panicked. What is that horrible noise? Shouted one Krek's commander. Turn it off! Turn it off! Screamed another. But Bae Jun-sik was not finished. He began broadcasting recorded messages in broken Krek's language. We are humans. We are come from the death world. We do not fear. We do not surrender. Today is a good day to die. The psychological effect was devastating. The Kreks had heard stories about human Deathworlders, but now they were experiencing it directly. These creatures seemed to enjoy fighting. They made noise and chaos instead of following proper military procedures. In the engineering section, Kim Tae-woo was working on his miracle repair. But instead of just fixing the engines, he was building something completely new. Navigation Officer Oh Yeon-ji, he called over the communication system. I need you to calculate something for me. What do you need? She replied from the bridge. If I redirect power from our atmospheric processors and mineral refiners, can we create an electromagnetic pulse weapon? Oh, Yeonji's voice showed surprise. You want to turn life support into a weapon? We have backup air for 6 hours. That should be enough time to end this fight. Calculating now. Yes, it should work, but the power surge might damage our own systems. Better than being dead. Kim replied as he began disconnecting cables and rerouting power systems. Dr. Nam Soo-jin continued her real-time analysis of the enemy. She had discovered something interesting about Krek psychology. Captain, she called, the Kreks are hive-minded creatures. They follow orders without question, but they are not good at adapting to unexpected situations. What does that mean for us? Asked Captain Lee. It means they cannot handle chaos. They expect organized, predictable warfare. Every time we do something unexpected, it confuses their entire command structure. Then let us give them more chaos. The captain ordered all departments to implement what he called Protocol Mayhem. Every human on the ship began doing things that made no sense to organized military thinking. Pilot Shinbora began flying in patterns that spelled out Korean words in space. The Kreks could not predict where the ship would go next because the movements were based on human writing instead of tactical necessity. The boarding team started singing folk songs while they fought. The sound of human voices echoing through Krek's ships created an atmosphere of supernatural dread. Technical crews began rewiring captured Krek's equipment to work backwards. Weapons that were supposed to fire forward now fired in random directions. Life support systems played human music instead of providing air. The Krek's fleet fell into complete disorder. Their rigid command structure could not handle an enemy that fought with organized chaos. Ship commanders shouted conflicting orders. Crews abandoned their posts in panic. Commander Lithera watched from her damaged research station in amazement. "They are not just fighting," she said to her crew. "They are psychologically destroying the enemy." Her science officer nodded. "The humans understand that warfare is not just about weapons and shield. It is about breaking the enemy's will to fight." "Are all Deathworld species like this?" asked the communications officer. "No," replied Lithera quietly. "I think humans are something special." The tide of battle was turning, but the humans were just getting started with their Deathworld ingenuity. The remaining Krek ships were retreating when space itself began to twist and glow. A massive shadow fell across the battlefield as something enormous dropped out of hyperspace. The new arrival was 10 times larger than any ship present. The Krek's mothership had arrived. Commander Lithera felt her heart sink as she watched the massive vessel take position. The dreadnought was longer than her entire research station. Its hull bristled with enough weapons to destroy a small planet. "This is War Master Krek's volume," came a deep voice over all communication channels. "Unknown human vessel, you have interfered with Krek's operations. Surrender now, and we will grant you a quick death." Captain Lee Daeho studied the enormous ship on his main screen. His tactical officer, Park Solman, was running calculations on her computer. "Captain," she reported quietly, "that ship has enough firepower to destroy us in seconds. Our weapons cannot penetrate their main shields. Recommendation is immediate withdrawal." The bridge crew waited for their captain's response. Any reasonable commander would order a retreat. The human ship was damaged and outnumbered. The smart choice was to run while they still could. Captain Lee smiled. "Kim Tae-woo, how is that electromagnetic pulse weapon coming along?" "Ready to fire, Captain, but at this range it will only disable their smaller ships. The mothership is too well shielded." "What about Protocol Ragnarok?" The bridge fell silent. Every human crew member knew what Protocol Ragnarok meant. It was their most desperate emergency plan. The one they used when survival was impossible and victory required everything. Engineer. Kim's voice came through the speakers slowly. "Captain, that protocol has never been tested in real combat. The survival chances are less than 30%, better than 0%, replied the captain. "Begin preparations." Protocol Ragnarok required using their experimental quantum drive as a weapon instead of a propulsion system. The plan was to make a micro-jump directly inside the enemy's shield perimeter. The risks were enormous. The gravitational forces could tear their ship apart. The quantum energies could kill everyone on board. But if it worked, they would appear right next to the mothership's hull, where their weapons could do maximum damage. Navigation? Officer Oh Young-ji began the complex calculations needed for a precision quantum jump. "Captain, I need exactly 47 seconds to plot the coordinates. The jump window will only last for 3 seconds. "You will have your time," promised the captain. The Krek's mothership began its attack. Energy beams, thick as building columns, lanced out toward the human ship. Pilot Shin Bora threw the damaged Indomitable into evasive maneuvers. The ship groaned and shook as she pushed it beyond normal limits. 30 seconds, reported OUNG. A massive explosion rocked the ship. As one of the energy beams clipped their port side, emergency lights flashed throughout the corridors. The artificial gravity flickered on and off. "Hull breach on Deck 5, reported damage control. Sealing emergency bulkheads." 20 seconds. Another beam passed so close to the bridge that the crew could see the energy crackling outside the windows. The heat was so intense that the metal walls began to glow. 15 seconds. The mothership fired a full salvo. 6 energy beams converged on the human ship's position. Shin Bora rolled the ship completely upside down and dove toward the gas giant's atmosphere. The beams passed through empty space. 10 seconds. The Kreks continued firing. They were not trying to capture the human ship anymore. They wanted to destroy it completely. The space around the Indomitable filled with deadly energy. 5 seconds. Captain Lee opened the ship-wide communication system. "All hands prepare for Protocol Ragnarok. Secure all stations. This is going to be rough. 3, 2, 1, jump." Reality twisted around the human ship. The quantum drive engaged with a sound like thunder. Every person on board felt like they were being squeezed through a tube made of lightning. The forces were so intense that normal humans would have been crushed instantly, but these were their bodies had evolved on a planet where gravity was stronger and weather was more violent than most species could imagine. They endured what would kill others. The Indomitable materialized directly alongside the Krek's mothership. They were so close that the two holes almost touched. The aliens inside the massive ship panicked when scanners showed an enemy vessel had appeared inside their defensive perimeter. All boarding teams launched immediately, ordered Captain Lee. We have maybe 10 minutes before they recover from the shock. Security Chief Choi Ji-hoon led the assault teams toward the mothership's hull. But this time, they were not just boarding, they were beginning what the humans called aggressive engineering. Demolitions expert Yuna Hana placed her charges at critical points along the enemy hull. But instead of simple explosives, she used devices that would create chain reactions in the ship's own systems. Target their power distribution nodes, she told her team. Make them destroy themselves. Technical specialist Lim Yu-jin led crews that began literally rewiring the alien ship while the battle continued. They connected human equipment to systems in ways that no engineer had ever attempted. We are turning their own technology against them, she explained to her teams. Their weapons will fire backward. Their life support will pump sleeping gas instead of air. Their navigation will think they are somewhere else. Dr. Nam Soo-jin provided real-time intelligence about Krek's ship design. The main computer core is 17 levels down from the breach point. If you can reach it, you can take control of their entire vessel. The humans spread through the mothership like a virus. They did not try to fight every enemy soldier. Instead, they focused on the ship's critical system. They were not conquering the vessel. They were dismantling it from the inside. Commander Lethera watched in amazement as the massive Krek's dreadnought began to malfunction. Weapons fired randomly. Lights flickered on and off. Sections of the hull began to vent atmosphere. What are they doing? She asked her science officer. I think they are performing surgery on a living ship, he replied in wonder. They are taking apart something 20 times their size using nothing but tools and determination. The humans had answered her SOS call. Now she was seeing exactly what that meant. The Krek's mothership drifted powerless in space. Its massive hull was dark except for emergency lights flickering in random patterns. The remaining smaller Krek's vessels fled into hyperspace without looking back. The battle was over. Captain Lee Daeho stood on the bridge of the Indomitable watching his crew work. The ship had taken heavy damage, but they were alive. More importantly, the research station was safe. Damage report, he requested from his tactical officer. Park So-min checked her instruments. Hull breaches on 3 decks. Main engines at 60% power. Life support is stable. We can make repairs, but we will need supplies. Casualties, 12. Injured, no deaths. Medical teams are treating everyone now. The captain nodded with satisfaction. They had faced impossible odds and won without losing a single crew member. But the battle was only part of their mission. Now came the harder work. Open a channel to the research station, he ordered. Commander Lethera's image appeared on the main screen. Her forearms moved nervously as she spoke. Captain Lee, we cannot thank you enough. You saved all our lives. We are forever in your debt. No debt necessary, replied the captain simply. We heard someone calling for help. We came to help. That is what any decent person would do. Lethera stared at him in confusion. But you risked everything. You could have been killed. We are not even the same species. Why would you do this for strangers? Captain Lee seemed surprised by the question. Because you asked for help. Because you were in danger. Because it was the right thing to do. The alien commander realized she was seeing something she had never encountered before. A species that helped others without expecting anything in return. This was not how the galaxy worked. Every species traded favors and calculated advantages. But these humans had nearly died for people they had never met. We would like to send medical teams to your station, continued the captain. Some of your people were injured in the attack. Our doctors can help. Your doctors know how to treat our species, asked Lethera. Dr. Nam Soo-jin is our best xenobiologist. She learns fast. Within an hour, human medical teams were aboard the research station. Dr. Nam worked quickly to understand Veltari biology. She had never treated this species before, but she approached each patient like a fascinating puzzle to solve. Your circulatory system has 4 hearts, she explained to a wounded researcher as she worked. The injury damaged 2 of them. I need to reroute blood flow while they heal. The Veltari doctor watching was amazed. How do you know how to do that? You have never seen our anatomy before? All biology follows similar patterns, Dr. Nam replied, as she carefully inserted healing devices. Hearts pump fluid, lungs process gas, brains control everything. The details change, but the principles stay the same. Meanwhile, engineer Kim Tae-woo was helping repair the research station. But he was not just fixing the damage, he was improving the systems. Your power grid is very inefficient, he told the station engineer. If we reroute these connections, you will get 30% more energy output. Is that safe? Asked the alien engineer. Safer than what you had before. Human ships operate in more dangerous conditions than research stations. Our safety standards are very high. By the end of the day, the research station was running better than it had in years. The humans had upgraded their shields, improved their life support, and enhanced their communication systems. Commander Lethera walked through her station with Captain Lee. Everything looked familiar but worked better than before. Why do you do this, she asked. The battle is over. You could leave now. Why stay to help with repairs? Because you still need help, replied the captain. The job is not finished until everyone is safe and everything is working properly. But what do you gain from this? Captain Lee stopped walking and looked at her seriously. We gained the knowledge that we helped someone who needed help. We gained the satisfaction of doing good work. We gained friends in a dangerous galaxy. Friends! If you ever need help again, just call us. If we are close enough, we will come. That is what friends do for each other. Lethera felt something she had never experienced before. These dangerous Deathworlders were offering genuine friendship with no conditions attached. They wanted nothing except to know that she was safe. Security. Chief Choi Ji-hoon was training some of the station's security personnel. The Kreks might come back, he explained, but now you know their weaknesses. Aim for the joints in their armor. Disrupt their communications. Make noise to confuse them. Will these tactics work for other species? Asked the Veltari guard. Every species has different weaknesses, but the principle is the same. Study your enemy. Find what they do not expect. Use their strengths against them. As the UES Indomitable prepared to leave, Commander Lethera called her crew together. We need to update our report to the Galactic database, she announced. What should we say about the humans? Asked her communications. Officer Lethera thought carefully. The old database entry listed humans as dangerous Deathworlders. Avoid contact, but that was not accurate anymore. Change the classification, she ordered. New entries should read, dangerous Deathworlders, reliable allies in crisis. Are you certain, Commander? The other species will think we are crazy. Let them think what they want. I know what I saw. When humans answer your SOS call, you get more than you asked for. You get warriors who fight like demons. You get engineers who perform miracles. You get doctors who learn alien medicine in hours. You get friends who will risk everything to help strangers. The research station watched as the human ship jumped back into hyperspace. Captain Lee had promised to file a report about the Kreks activity in this sector. Patrol ships would come to provide better security. Commander Lethera knew that word would spread across the galaxy. The story of how humans had defeated a Kreks fleet to save a research station. How they had asked for nothing in return except friendship. Some species would fear the humans even more after hearing this story. Others would remember it if they ever found themselves in desperate trouble. The galaxy was a little bit safer now, because when someone called for help in the darkness between the stars, they knew that somewhere out there were humans who would answer that call. And when humans answered, you got exactly what you needed and more than you ever dared hope for.